And I am here today with my favorite person. When I started this podcast was like 3 months ago, and you were my first person to interview. So we're gonna just have a conversation, an honest conversation about what is life 6 months later and where we are with our fitness journey. And we just gonna go. There is no script on this podcast. It's a very raw, very honest, no rehearsal. So stay with us and let's see where it's gonna take us.
How have you been? 6 months in.
Busy. It has been such a journey to come up with the call movement and trying to really learn how to do a podcast. And in the midst of all this, I still want to keep up with my fitness routine. I still want to keep up with training. And it has been a really cool journey. But I am exhausted. That has not changed since day one.
Yes. I'm always exhausted.
How about you? What has it changed for the past 6 months for you?
I'm doing well. I'm also equally exhausted, but I also started a new job, which means my schedule and routine has been completely thrown off, and I'm just trying to get back into it. So I'm trying to work through how do you embrace change in life, which is always constant, and there's always going to be change, but how do you take that change and make sure it doesn't drastically reset all aspects of life, which sometimes that tends to happen. And so that's what I'm working through right now.
That's what I say, life through seasons, right?
Yes.
It's never going to be perfect, but we need to keep showing up. I interviewed Megan, one of our friends, last week.
I saw that. It was such a good interview.
And she said, and I love that, she said, get back on the horse the next day because life is going to be that. It's not going to be perfect. When you just started your business, your new job, and how did you get back on the horse? Because you're still exercising, you're still finding fitness, you're still finding time for fitness in your life.
One of the most important reframes that you provided me in a previous podcast was release yourself from the pressures of having to have a perfect workout every single time. And instead of thinking about working out, just think about movement. And so for me, that reframe has been so impactful because I would always feel that sense of guilt, like I didn't do the perfect workout. And so now I just find moments of movement. And so if it's 10 minutes a day, or just going on a walk, like it doesn't have to be a perfect lifting session. I could just go on a walk. And so that has given me permission to just focus on movement more so than the perfection. And so that's helped a lot.
Very liberating.
Yes, very liberating.
And I honestly think all of us has been there because everyone keeps telling us, do more cardio, more strength. You need to do this because you're over 35. You need to do that. And no one is really focusing on movement.
Yes.
And not perfection. It's just the consistent of showing up, of going for a walk or just moving. Yeah. And what I've seen a lot with a lot of women that I interviewed were experts in different areas, right? From gut health to doctors to PTs, and all of them keep going back to just move.
Yeah.
And the message out there is the opposite. The message out there is like, you need to do Hydrox. Is that the new thing it's all this trend. You need to do the Hydrox. You need to do very heavy lifting weights. You need to do more jumping for your bone. But everyone is forgetting that, can we just keep moving? And the days that we find strength training, it's a big plus. And I'm not saying that we should not be doing that, but the release of that pressure of not having the perfect workout.
And the guilt. So one of our earlier conversations, I asked you, I said, what is an example of movement? And you said, it's as simple as taking the stairs instead of the elevator. And I really internalized that. My office, so I now have to go into an office, whereas before I was working remote, I go in 3 days a week. We're on the 20th floor. And I think of you in the mornings. I go up 20 flights of steps. And the first time I thought I was going to die. I was on the 6th floor and I was like, okay, I'm just going to exit. Nobody will know. No one was going to know. It's like that. No one's going to know. Go and take the elevator for the remaining, I can't do the math right now. I was like, no, that is cheating. You can do this. And I get to work and I'm out of breath. And one of my coworkers looks at me and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, don't talk to me right now. Give me 5 minutes. I need to catch my breath. And now I do it and it's still not easy, but it's easier than it was my first day. And so that is an example of how I've just thrown movement into my daily routine where instead of taking the elevator, I'll go up 20 flights of stairs, come down 20 flights of stairs at the end of the day.
Such a perfect example.
Yeah.
People try to find an excuse at all times to do any type of movement, including walking. And I don't have time. I'm tired. I'm not going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
You just have the perfect example. And I keep saying, park your car a little further.
Yes.
You know, just go for a little walk. You in a conference room, stuck traveling. Hey, you can do laps.
Yep.
You live in Denver at the airport. I tell you, I've done 5 miles in that airport.
That's amazing.
Just walking back and forth.
Yeah.
I was in a step challenge. Not recommending, but that's how I got that done.
That's amazing.
And I got really into. But I think the message has to be, and we don't hear those messages, right? The message out there is, it's the hype on everything that's trending. And I'm trying to go against everything that's trendy. And I might caught up with some trendy stuff, but no one's telling you, just keep moving.
Yeah. No, I love the message. And it just gives me permission to accept my life the way it is in a very chaotic form versus the perfectly structured life. And I will get to a point where I can have that perfect structure. I'm just not quite there yet in this season of life. My next season will incorporate more structure, and that's what I'm striving for. But what I've learned is, and what you've taught me, is it's not having the 30, 45, 1 hour blocks. It's the compounding effect of all the little things that come together and create impact. And so I'm just focusing on the little wins, and I promise you I'll get back to the big wins. I'm just not there today.
You're winning. This is winning. Don't minimize the amount of work you're doing. As you said beautifully, is that a word?
Yeah, it can be. Why not?
Why not? Love that. How you were compounding little winnings. But this is, you know what it's called? That's a progression.
Progress.
That's progression for everything that you're doing. People feel very intimidated starting with weights. If I'm training you and you never worked out, I'm not going to give you a very heavy amount of weights. I'm going to start you slow and gradually you're going to increase. It's a progression. So it's life.
Progress over perfection.
Progress over perfection. And you progress into stuff, and starting something feels frustrated, especially if you see people that's your age and they're way stronger. They're doing all this work. Someone was like, I can't do push-ups and I have to be on my knees. And I'm like, at a certain point, we all had to be on our knees. Yeah. Don't feel frustrated. You have to start somewhere and you need to be kind and understand the limits and keep pushing, and progress starts.
Yeah.
As life has its seasons. It's the same concept for working out.
Yes. So this is your sign. You have permission to focus on progress over perfection. Beautiful. Well, here we are 6 months later. Progress over perfection.
Yes. And we'll be back. Thank you. And if this message is something that it appeals to you, join us. Join the movement. Thank you for your time. Bye.